You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 heels and a face.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast. If you hear my voice up top, that is because Charlie is not here. He's not introducing the show. But I have a special guest, the godfather of Chicago's professional wrestling scene. But I am going to talk to James Camioni first, and then we'll talk to James Russo.
The non-fun one. Got it.
But you've definitely had your hands full. I would say the last couple of months, but in reality, it's been a handful of months that you've been running shows back to back, packed houses. So congrats on that. It's lovely to see the Logan Square Auditorium fully packed to the gills once again, just like we left it, pre-pandemic. And that goes to say that, this last show you had there was obviously, the big attraction there was not Mick Foley, was the storyline that you guys were telling that, Mick Foley was just a cherry on top, I think, personally. But it was again super cool to see those. I had to see it virtually. I could not make it out to the show. But again, it felt good. How did you feel after that show and going into that show?
Going in, stressed out, hoping everything came off the way we wanted it to. Just coordinating everything was somewhat, I wouldn't say difficult, but it was stressful. And then coming out of it, sense of relief. Hell yes, we pulled it off. Nobody saw the what happened coming.
Not at all.
And that was the big thing. Was okay. Everyone okay. Mick Foley's a special guest referee. All right. Well, we know what Mick Foley's going to do. And when the idea was brought to my attention, I'm like, we have to do something that no one's going to see coming. We have to. If we do just the paint by numbers, oh, Mr. Sacco, happy Mick Foley, have a nice day. No, let's not do that. Let's try to piss people off with what Foley's going to do, and it worked. The big F you Foley chant was mind-boggling. Even you could see on his face, he was like, "Whoa, is this really happening right now?" He was kind of shocked too that was happening. So what we were going for paid off. It was a great moment in freelance wrestling history.
100%. But before we get into this show, let's talk about a little bit about what you've been up to. Before we hit record, we talked about Funko Pops, and I definitely have stopped buying Funkos, mainly because we're doing some house cleaning here and putting stuff in storage units, and then I don't have the heart to buy them and put them in boxes and store them away like that. So that's been primarily why. But you were telling me about some acquisitions you got.
Oh yeah.
Which
they announced today.
Yeah.
Yeah, they announced today that they were finally going to release a Soprano series of Funko Pops with a Funko exclusive and a Amazon exclusive that I just couldn't pass up. The Sopranos, which the character right now is kind of my character, at least right now. That's kind of what I'm trying to push towards, is being like a Tony Soprano, where no, I'm the boss. I'm the godfather. So me and the wife, we just actually finished watching the Soprano series. So
Was that a
even she was
rewatch
kind of
or for
excited
the
about
first time?
This was me finishing it for the first time. We had started it back in like 2016, 17, and then we just stopped for whatever reason. And then it went on HBO Max, and finally we were able to crank them out over the last couple months in between availability of me being around and
Mhm.
not being exhausted and her not being exhausted from her job. And so we finally cranked it out. And obviously the end of the series is very like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, they're here comes 6 brand new Funko Pops: Christopher, 2 Tonys, Polly Walnuts, Syl, and Carmella.
And the reason I wanted to talk about those is exactly that, right? Like I was trying to figure out, was there any um I mean, it's not no coincidence, like where you're pulling, some of the James Russo things. Like you've kind of always kind of portrayed that, but now like really holding, as was stated in the promo, right? Now you're holding the keys to Chicago's wrestling, talking about freelance and freelance underground, and really pushing that story forward. And we'll get there. I'm just
Yeah,
excited to talk about that,
yeah,
because I mean that just in itself, again, we talk about twists and turns and where do we go from certain stories, and just seeing how that's all developing, super super cool. Just from the freelance faithful eye. But you had the show Freelance Cheap Pop that took place Friday, August 5th, at the Logan Square Auditorium, and you kick things off with the return of Craig Mitchell,
the long-awaited
which
return of Craig Mitchell.
long awaited for sure. And was he part of it was a 6-man scramble, right?
Yeah,
Six
6-man.
six person.
Yeah, 6-person scramble. You probably will never see anything over 6 anymore. So
Okay. Hey, that number works. Uh, it was a great match. So we had Bucky Collins versus Craig Mitchell versus Devon Monroe versus Ethan Price versus Angel Scalera versus Coda Hernandez. And like we said, like the big thing here was Craig's return. Before he left, we were seeing him in main events. We were seeing him in that ideal spot where it's the match before intermission, where kind of like you definitely need a break after seeing such a match. And now he comes in the scramble, and it just feels like he's working his way back to up to the top, like he's starting from scratch.
yes, and months and months of layoff. Last time we saw Craig Mitchell, he blew out his ankle, his the Achilles actually, and he was against Brian Keith, who, man, has that guy become a second city son essentially. So the last time we saw Craig, you're right, he was in that prominent role. He finals against Robert Anthony for the freelance world title, legacy championship match, I believe. No, he wasn't legacy champ yet, but high profile match with Brian Keith. And you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately for Craig, the wheel keeps spinning, the machine keeps going along, and people passed him up, and bringing him back was obvious, something we had to do. We missed Craig. Craig is a very important part of freelance wrestling and its history. And day one, he's a day one guy, and we don't really have that many day ones roaming around anymore. So bringing Craig back was definitely a high priority. He said, "Hey, I don't know what I could give you, but I want to come back." And all right, well, scramble work for you. He's like, "That's the perfect spot for me to prove that I still belong in the top echelon of freelance wrestling." All right, dude, here's your spot. Go back and earn your rightful place at the top. And he didn't disappoint.
Yeah, 100%, and the crowd embraced them like always. So it was good to see. It was a good feel, and also it's a great match once again. And he walked away with the victory. So hopefully this means that we're in a trajectory here where he's definitely proving himself once again, and seeing him climb back to the top. We also had Effie. Effie comes back after a long absence also at Freelance. Effie against Jossie.
Yes.
We've seen Jossie before, and I think I can't remember when was his last time at Freelance, but I guess
It was the
I'm
month.
sure.
I believe it was the month before. He was in the
What
scramble
was it?
match.
That's right. Okay, because when I think of Jossie, I think of that incident where he he got literally knocked out, right? And now seeing him against Effie and putting the type of match that they put together here, um, Jossie, going toe to toe with Effie, not just in the wrestling aspect, but in the antics as well.
Yes.
Like really putting on a show, you know, a different feel for the matches that were on the card for sure.
Mhm. Definitely. Effie has grown to be a freelance staple as well. So having him around as much as we possibly can. The man is extremely busy with everything he's got going on. At the time, he was GCW Tag Champ, I believe. Still, they have since lost those, but Effie's a very, very busy man. We love having him around. Ja, this is the first time we've got to see Ja in a singles match. He's been back 2 or 3 times to freelance, but he's been in scrambles. So giving him the opportunity to see what he can do singles in front of the freelance audience was something that we definitely wanted to do. So I'm glad that it was against Effie, and yeah, it was surely entertaining.
For sure. And then we also had Durbin Corbin versus Kylie Ray,
Yes,
right? Darren Corbin accompanied
a
by
match that
Bucky
been years in
Collins.
the years in the making.
Really, tell me a little bit more about that.
It's something that they both wanted for years, and it just never matched up, never matched up, never matched up. We finally had the opportunity to put it on this show. Both were extremely excited about it. Um, both wanted it, and unfortunately, we didn't get necessarily the ending that we would have hoped for. Whether it actually be Kylie Ray or Darren Corbin, our good buddy Alfonso Gonzalez decided to interfere, and cost Kylie the match.
Yeah, with that good old Eddie trick. Making it seem like Kylie used that chair, and let's not discredit or forget about Bucky Collins, right? With his Jurassic Park attire. Um, definitely, doing his part in getting involved there. But yeah, this match ends up in a DQ. Um, Corbin walks away with the win, but it doesn't feel like there's a conclusion there to the ending of that match. But definitely, also once again, that Kylie and Alfonso Gonzalez storyline progresses from here, and we'll see where we end up seeing both of them again. Definitely, Alfonso Gonzalez has a thing there where he's getting heavily involved and just messing around with Kylie. So we'll see where that goes. And then, so then we have James Russo bringing in Project Monix. This partnership that definitely brings some a different look and feel to Project Monix, right? We know how much we dislike him here, but James Russo taking the mic and really cutting a promo, definitely like I was digging it. I was digging it. I'm like it was
Was James Russo wrong? Did James Russo necessarily say anything that was not true?
took a few shots out there. The ace and queen of freelance setting up there, not doing anything about it. Um, and also this is the first time that James Russo makes an appearance at freelance wrestling.
Yes. And James Camioni was extremely nervous, shaking, legs were weak. Like it was literally an Eminem song.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah. Uh, one shot, one opportunity sees everything you've ever wanted. And for 8 years, it was a dream. And it seemed as it wasn't obtainable for whatever reason. The timing wasn't right, or the ideas weren't right, or at the beginning of Freelance, I was offered an opportunity, like first show ever, and I turned it down. I was like, let's wait, let's see what we can make. Let's not rush something. Let's not do this because I'm your friend. Let's do this when something feels right. And then there was a couple ideas that popped up. Um, One that I felt real strong about, and just it never materialized. And 7 years later, find out that it wasn't Nix who was saying no. It was the other party, and it is what it is. But here we are, 8 years later. It debut at the first show after the anniversary show. Mick Foley's on the show, and to James came another person. It was a dream come true. To James Russo, it was long overdue.
Mhm.
James Russo has a chip on his shoulder, just like Project Monix does. And Project Monix, throughout everything, saw that James Russo needed this moment and needed to be shown that he was a somebody too, just like Project Monix was, where a lot of people just pushed James Russo aside. And now the unholy duo is together, and who knows what the hell we're gonna do.
I gotta say the red and black combination there in your outfit, uh, with the green, like it really pops. And I'm like I'm just that's what I I look at when I look at presentation itself. Because I also noticed, and we'll talk about the Freelance Underground show. There, you're wearing, I believe, black with hints of red. Um,
Yes.
so again, little details here and there, but was this match supposed to be always Dan the Dad, or was it, or
Yeah.
Dan the Dad was a Yeah,
No,
I feel
it
like
was always
okay.
Project Monix versus Dan the Dad, which was a match that was supposed to happen before elsewhere, and for some
Mhm.
reason it fell apart. And what's one place's loss is another person's gain. Dan the Dad, super super loved by the Freelance audience. So
Yep.
why wouldn't Project Monix and James Russo want to stick a stake in the heart of basically one of the people that kind of replaced Project Monix in their hearts when he never did anything wrong to the Freelance audience in the first place? Trying to get that's a problem? I don't understand.
Well, what was wrong? Explain to us why did Monix decide to wrestle with his bare ass for so goddamn long?
Hey,
The last person we saw that was
I
I
was yelling
Candy
at him,
Elliott.
and before that, Ric Flair maybe. I It must not have been too windy. I mean, it was perfect. Let's give credit where
I-
credit's due.
okay,
Perfectly
yeah,
bronzed butt. Uh,
well
Clearly,
tan
Monix
man.
has been putting work in the gym. You could see the muscularity of the gluteus maximus, but finally he, I think, realized, oh, it's a bit breezy, and yanked up his pants. Blame Dan the Dad. Dan the Dad did it. He pulled his pants down.
Right. Definitely took advantage and got a spanking here and there, but ultimately, Monix walks away with the win here. And now we're seeing like picking up wins, collecting wins, seeing where that's gonna take us. But definitely like this combination of James Russo and Monix are definitely something to keep an eye on.
You're gonna see a different side of Monix now. Mm, Violent and not caring anymore. He cared too much, then he cared not enough, and now he doesn't care at all. And anybody who does not care, it's a scary situation.
He's definitely been throwing caution to the wind lately. Especially in that match in Freelance Underground. We'll talk about that, like I said. Um, but coming up, we had the Legacy title match: Brian Keith with Matt Nix versus Coco Lane and Trevor Outlaw. Trevor Outlaw also, I don't know if he's ready for action or he's just being careful, but definitely getting to be seen by the freelance crowd by accompanying Coco Lane.
Yeah, he hasn't been cleared for an actual in-ring wrestling match. He keeps teasing that he may or may not be ready soon, maybe later, who knows. But Coco Lane earned an opportunity by beating Matt Nix. Brian Keith's not one to say no.
And
He's a
and clear
defending
this one
champ.
up for me. Coco Lane was formerly Cody Lane. Is that
Yeah.
right?
After his appearance on AEW, he's like call me Coco. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna argue with the man. He wants to be known as Coco. He's Coco now.
Okay. Okay. But
Once
once
upon a
again,
time,
Brian Keith. Go ahead.
AEW had a Cody. So
So he's
Cody no
Coco.
more. He's Coco now.
Got it. Got it. But yeah, once again, Brian Keith, uh, unstoppable. Definitely, like you said, he's becoming a staple here and just running through people. So he picks up the win here and retains the title.
The Legacy
Which
Championship. The Legacy Championship deserves a champion like this. The Legacy title, the no disrespect to previous champions, but Robert Anthony won it in 2020 at the Collective, defended it one time at the beginning of 2021 for Secret Stash, and didn't have to defend it anytime after that. And then he was trying to, he opened his mouth, said, I'll defend both. And, the Legacy Championship deserves focus, not split focus. Effie, because of the pandemic, didn't really have the opportunity
mm-hmm.
to defend. And before that, Eye Candy Elliott was the first champion, and he spent most of his time battling Effie. So now here's Brian Keith, who's by far one of the hottest talents on the independent scene right now, all over the country. Different matchups, giving it his all, defending the championship. In my opinion, putting on absolute bangers with whomever he's in the ring with. And the Legacy title is now getting the proper visual, the proper respect that it does deserve.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. With that, single focus on and having these matches really solidifying what the title means, what it is, because it is, a couple years old, and obviously counting pandemic there in the middle, but having Brian Keith carry it and defending it like he is definitely um, puts that title in perspective and to show you who you got to go up against if you want to be the champ.
Collecting bounties.
Exactly.
You put the name on the poster, he collects, and he doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. So definitely proud to have Brian Keith coming to Chicago as much as humanly possible and representing freelance wrestling as the Legacy champion.
Yep. And moving on here, we have the World Tag Team Title match: the Bang Bros, August Matthews and Davey Bang, up against Mark Wheeler and Evan Greenway.
Yes.
I mean, where after this match, Bang Bros having those titles, I don't know where we go from here. It feels like the Bang Bros have been, running through any tag team that comes their way.
Well, I mean, that was their first title defense, and it wasn't even against their original opponents. Unfortunately, uh, Laney Luck and GPA had a scheduling conflict that arose out of nowhere. They contacted us, so they couldn't make it. We found Mark Wheeler and Taylor Rising, and then Taylor Rising got hurt. So Evan
Right, that's
Greenaway,
right.
man, Evan Greenaway was a Mark Wheeler going, trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. Okay. And he didn't disappoint at all whatsoever. Talented, super talented. Another a Canadian wrestler who's super talented. Definitely glad that Mark Wheeler gave the suggestion, and definitely plan on having him back in the future. Bang Bros, that was their first title defense. Their first freelance tag team title defense. No, I'm sorry, it was their second. They did defend them at Emporium on the 30th of August.
Okay.
So, and now, they have another title defense. You asked where do they go? Well, they march right into Emporium on 9/1, and they defend against Effie and Alley Catch. So, the opponents are just going to get tougher. After that, if they're still champs, I know who their next challengers are. Am I going to tell you? No. But I know who the next challengers are, and it's just going to keep getting more and more challenging for them. Young, awesome tag team. Very proud of them for, starting out being nobodies, and now they're starting to finally get some recognition as being one of the better tag teams on the independent scene. So nothing but upwards for the Bang Bros overall. Now we just got to work on a new team name as to not run into
That's
any
more marketable.
well, not even necessarily more marketable, because Bang Bros is marketable. It's just that it's already belongs to somebody else. So
Right.
now we just got to figure out where do the Bang Bros go with their name from here.
Okay. I mean,
So you can start Googling them.
yeah, rebranding is can be tough at times, but definitely something to keep an eye on and see what they come up with. Um, so now we are at the main event, as we stated before. In this case, Mick Foley showing up as a special referee. We have Storm Grayson, who's the champ at this point, going up against Robert Anthony. Obviously, Frank the Clown tags along with Robert. And boy, oh boy, does Kirby take the mic and really entertain the crowd here and redoing his announcing for Robert Ego Anthony, as he has made him done it in the past over and over. Um, he definitely handed it to him here, and I thought that was extremely entertaining. I was not expecting that, another layer to this storyline, right? Even with Kirby, tying in several offenses from Mr. Robert Ego Anthony here.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. How many people has Robert Anthony pissed off, and Frank the Clown? How many people have they pissed off over the last few years they've been together? And then after he won the title, the things that they would make Kirby do and constantly make him announce them over and over again, and adding things that weren't necessarily true, but they deemed true. And here was Kirby's opportunity. He's not the champ. They have no position of power. So, Kirby had Mick Foley standing there, and Kirby had some testicular fortitude and assumed, as anybody would have, that Mick Foley would have protected him. And as we found out, that probably wasn't going to be the case, and Frank and Rob were just scared of Kirby.
And Foley also lets us know, right? He's not down to get to the mat and do all these false finishes and He's not gonna be, pinning every single pinfall. So pick him, choose him wisely. And then this match, at this point, does it get turned into a match? False con it, not false con anywhere, but just anything goes, right?
Yeah,
That wasn't
that was
the original
made
intent.
that was made by Mick Foley.
Uh huh.
Mick Foley wanted that stipulation added to the match, and usually when a WWE Hall of Famer asks for something, you don't say no. So when he arrived, and this is legit. He legitimately asked for that match to just be anything goes.
I gotta ask, who kept that? Who made and then who kept the referee shirt?
Um, so here you get a little bit of an exclusive. Um, Franklin T. Clown made the
Okay.
shirt, along with his better half. She did the stripes, and Franklin did the freelance logo on the pocket.
Uh huh.
And the shirt. Here's your exclusive. The shirt actually we have. Mick Foley has autographed it, and we will be raffling or auctioning it off at some point, with 100% of the proceeds being given to St. Jude's, as part of the Wrestling for a Cure initiative that the freelance brand has joined. That we won the top promotion. We raised the most money, and we definitely want to do that again. And by we I mean me. I love the trophy, so and not like that. In all honesty, raising money for the kids is great. I've lost two friends over the last 7 years. One to colon cancer, and my best friend since I was a little kid, since I was 7 years old. I lost him last year, November 19th, to double lung and pelvic cancer. So this hits home for me. You know, Nick knew that, and Nick agreed to allow freelance to be a part of it overall, not just
Hmm.
underground, but freelance wrestling itself. So we had asked if he wouldn't mind, autographing it and allowing us to auction it off for cancer research for kids for St. Jude's, and he was more than happy to do so. So, thank you to Mick Foley for doing that for us, and we can't wait to see how much money it raises for St. Jude's once the new season kicks off.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that'll be great. Definitely let us know. And we'll definitely promote it. I'm sure that that won't even be necessary. There'll be enough people that knowing that it's for a good cause and an awesome collectible to have.
Yeah.
People are gonna be coming out of the woodwork for that. So,
It's one of one.
um,
I mean, and that's the
yep.
thing. Like, I wouldn't doubt if WWE at one point sold replica Mick Foley referee T-shirts at some or button ups at some
Hmm.
point. But this is one of one. This here, look, Frank the Clown drew the logo. Noel Foley drew the stripes. Mick Foley wore it and signed it. I mean, love or hate Frank. Frank Frank the Clown was born on WWE television and on the WWE network. He's legitimately with Noelle Foley, Mick Foley's daughter. She put time and effort into the stripes. Everybody knows who Noelle is now. So,
Hmm.
it's really one of one. It is hand drawn. So, and all proceeds 100%. Nothing goes to us. And I need to stress that nothing will go to freelance or freelance underground or James or Nick or anyone else involved in management. It will 100% go to uh, Jude's Children's Hospital. So
Awesome. Well, that's great to see that freelance as a whole, um, you know, supports causes like this, and in this case, it's a great opportunity to once again make a substantial contribution. So again, let us know when that information gets out there, and we'll make sure to share it. And I will make an attempt at that that auction. We'll see how far that gets me. Um,
there is one other piece of one other piece that was in that match that was signed, autographed, and given to somebody, and that was Sacco. And as a surprise, they gave that to Storm. So that was really cool.
That because Storm had that story about Mick Foley there being his shirt, a shirt and an action figure, like the first thing wrestling things he had, right, as a kid.
And his mother was a massive Mick Foley dude love fan. So to have that memorabilia, I mean, first off, to have Mick Foley even involved in one of your matches, and now you have Sacco that was drawn by him, that was in your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's yours. He autographed it, and here, thank you. Here's a little surprise for you. So
that's cool. But let's talk about Storm. He carried that title for a month, right? Definitely was a feel good moment for the crowd when he won. Us as fans, we were excited to see him grab that
carried
title.
it for a month and defended it equal to or more than Robert Anthony did in 6 months. 5 months. 6 months. No, 6 months. You may not have seen the matches. They haven't been posted yet. They are there. They're going to be released, but he did defend it against Jake something at Emporium.
Emporium, yeah.
Yep. He defended it against Chico Suave. He defended it against Alfonso Gonzalez.
Where did these matches happen?
Those happened at Hot Sauce Expo. And he defended it against Gunnar Brave. All successful title defenses, but he did defend the belt 4 times, which is, I think, the same amount, if not less, than Robert Anthony did in 6 months. Storm did it in a month and a half.
So there you go. I mean, we knew he was a champion. We, like he defended it more than we saw at the Logan Square Auditorium. But what's next for Storm? Like, does he chase the title more? Does he? I mean, because I think this definitely puts, again, when we spoke to him, and we talked about, like, yeah, this for us, like I see Freelance needing this babyface to take the title away from Ego. Like, who would that be? And in the alley during intermission, is like, it has to be Storm. Like, if it's now, it's now or never type of thing. But also, we wanted to see Storm get on the mic and get more comfortable cutting promos and seeing more personality out of him, which he slowly started doing. That
he's still a work in progress. He's still a work in progress.
Right. There's still so much room for him to progress, but within that progression, he's proven that he is a champion. He's worthy of carrying a belt. So I just hope to see more of that as we progress, as the months come, and see him cutting promos, and not just in the middle of the ring, but outside of the ring, and
I mean, the matches aren't stopping for Storm. 9-1. He's wrestling Tony Deppen at Emporium. I mean, geez, Tony Deppen is a massive name on the indies. He former Ring of Honor television champion. So I mean, that's still a big opportunity for Storm. Once again, I know it's going down on the 23rd. Another massive opportunity for Storm Grayson. Is it over with Ego? Is it over with Rob? Can't be. He's a champ. He defended it. Doesn't he get a rematch? He wasn't a one and done. So, I mean, the rematch has to happen, right? I mean, Rob has to give him a rematch. He can't duck and dodge him forever. He has to eventually give him a rematch. And who knows what or how that rematch may. So this isn't the last you've seen of Big Time Grayson.
No, I just, I for sure. I mean, I know he's going to be in the scene, But yeah, like I want his character to progress and to give us a little more, so we can keep holding on to that Storm Grayson that we've been seeing develop. So
Well,
um,
one
mhm,
thing that myself and Isaiah really wanted to develop is baby faces, because in all honesty, one, maybe two
right.
big time baby faces over the last 5 years. I mean, Craig, Craig's been a start and stop because of injury. Kylie Ray was by far the biggest baby face that Freelance had seen at the time, but you can't always depend on one or two people. Like, look at the John. It's almost like the John Cena effect. Like,
Hmm.
people got sick and tired of seeing John Cena. Do I think people will be sick and tired of seeing Kylie Ray? Absolutely not.
I don't think
She's
so.
Chicago's favorite daughter. But why continually have to go to Kylie and go, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah, so we need you to basically carry the entire load of freelance wrestling because the crowd loves you." Or we could take this time to go, okay, well, we got Kylie. Let's let Kylie not have to be the bearer of the load. Let's try to get these other people to connect with the fans, where the fans are like, oh shit, we like this person too, and this person, and this person, and this person, just in case, who knows? Say Kylie gets signed again. She's gone.
Yep.
And then, you it's not fair to always have to depend on her either. So now, the crowd got behind Storm. Crowd's still behind Craig, Brian Keith. The crowd's coming around. It was coming around. Definitely came around to the Bang Bros. Definitely came around to the Bang Bros. They were nobodies, and when we started up freelance at the end of last year, Bang Bros. A lot of people knew who they were because of their work they were doing you know at Underground, because that's where
Hmm.
you got to
Yeah.
see the Bang Bros really. They weren't getting those opportunities at freelance. They started to at the end of 21. So now they're massively loved by the fans. You've got Angel Escalara, the crowd love him. Dan the Dad, can't forget about Dan the Dad. Dan the Dad is by far beloved by that crowd. He definitely top three, most loved. Effie, Effie, if I had to do an order, Effie's number one. Based on crowd reaction and just the way things are,
Hmm.
Effie, the crowd is all about Effie, all about Dan the Dad, Kylie Ray, Craig Mitchell, the Bang Bros, Brian Keith, like Storm Grayson. Like, we're starting to develop more people that the crowd could actually get behind, as opposed to. So when's Kylie Ray going to show up? Because that's the only reason we're really here.
Right. Yeah. No.
Does
And
that
and
make
I think that yeah, totally. And
sense? Or am
especially
I just blowing smoke up my own ass?
no, that's the exact same conversation that I was referencing to with Charlie at the last show, right? During intermission, it's like we came to the point where it's like, you know, where are the baby faces here with freelance? Like who do we see in that top slot right now? And it made perfect sense that it was Storm. Like he's proven himself over the years. And also I'm like, if freelance also has the academy there, right? So let's grow these students that are putting in the work, because you see them everywhere, right?
Starting
Whether
to,
they're
yes.
behind this, what was that?
You're definitely starting to see them outside of the freelance bubble, which
Right,
is
outside of the
definitely
bubble, but even,
nice.
and we've talked about other events that we will go to, and they're helping, put up the ring, set up the ring, tearing things down, whatever they need. So they're paying their dues and such, but also, within the freelance umbrella, getting to know these characters that are homegrown. Um, it's pretty cool to see, and again, it all has to do with timing also, right? When is the right time to really put certain people in these matches, and I think again with Storm, it felt right. That's why the whole crowd was able to embrace that moment along with him.
It was make or break. This last year was make or break for Storm Grayson. If the crowd didn't get into him, okay, so yeah, maybe we could throw you heel, but right now heel is so oversaturated.
Mhm.
I don't know what kind of place she'll have as a heel. Here's make or break for you in Chicago, essentially. You're 26 going on 27. You've had a bunch of stop starts because of your shoulders. Here's your opportunity. It's on you now. We're giving you the platform. It's on you. And he succeeded. And like you were saying about the students too. Yeah, the Freelance Wrestling Academy is pumping out students. There's like 6 or 8 that could go now. And we don't even have 100. We don't have 6 or 8 spots for them
Mhm.
to wrestle every show. And then there's still, I think currently there's like 50 registered students.
Oh wow.
So, and 8 are currently wrestling on a
Mhm.
consistent basis. We're not going to have, 30 or 42 more spots. So
And now you're
it's
limiting
make or
your
break. It's
scrambles
make
to
or break for
6.
them. Yeah. And we're not going to go over 6. Well, I mean, let's be
I'm
honest.
just giving you a hard time, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Here comes the 9-man scramble now, right? Don't oversaturate the show.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours. He's my fan perspective, and he always ends up going, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, and I'm like, no, I know you're not trying to be mean. You're giving me your fans perspective of the shows and the booking and the matches, and if it gets you after working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week,
Mhm.
will this make you come out after working those hours and drive to Logan Square, sit for 2.5 hours, and then have to drive home again?
And he's
And
been
he
saying no lately.
and he's been saying no lately. And he goes, but my opinion doesn't really mean shit. And I'm like, why do you say that? He's like, you just packed 450 people into a building with what you're putting together. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And he's like, and you sold out the month before. I was like, yeah. He's like, so my opinion doesn't mean anything. I'm like, no, your opinion still means something. What you're watching at home still, I know you are.
Right. Mhm.
So, and the reason why I brought that up is about the students and what you said, and I appreciate what you said. You are taking it as, okay, we got to get to know these people. Whereas there is another side to that of, well, I don't know this person, so how am I supposed to get excited about seeing them? Give them a chance. Don't automatically dislike it because they're wrestling somebody you want to see wrestle somebody else. Don't be that person. I understand why you are. You like what you like. But give these people an opportunity to show you that, hey, I bet you like me, or I bet you're going to despise me because I'm a heel. Give an opportunity. And I appreciate the fact that you and Charlie both have done that. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're accustomed to certain things going a certain way, to go, oh, I don't know these people, I really don't care, versus, oh, I don't know these people, well, let me see if
Mhm.
I should give a damn about them. And you going,
Well, that's
oh,
the thing, right? When you're building a brand, or when you have a brand like Freelance, and now even content, is being put on YouTube regarding the Freelance Academy,
yes,
right? And then having Storm tell his story, that he came from he did his time at the Freelance Academy, or Escalera talking about his time there, right? And now people know them, so they're kind of like, now they're ambassadors for that brand, like it or not, the Bang Bros, right? So now anybody that's going to come through that, Freelance Academy, now they have to kind of step up their game, so
right.
that brand can keep building up, and that's how the talent gets known. Because yeah, a
And
lot
the
of the
kids are
times you're
told,
like,
and
exactly.
and the new students are told, like, you're not guaranteed a spot on the shows, even when you're ready.
Hmm.
even when we deem you ready, do not think that you're okay, well, I'm training at the Freelance Wrestling Academy, so I'm going to be on Freelance Wrestling. No, you're not guaranteed that opportunity. You have to not only want to do the work, you also have to want to show us why you deserve to be on the shows over 30 other people,
Mm-hmm.
or even thousands of people out there right now that are emailing and sending messages that we're going, sorry, we're not interested at this time. Why should we be interested in you? Put something together that makes us interested in you. Oh, you could do cool moves? Guess what? There's hundreds of people just like you that could do cool moves. Why should we care about your cool moves over this person's cool moves? So, it's a brand ambassador, like you said, for at least for the academy.
Mm-hmm.
But we do not lie and go, don't worry, you'll be on the Freelance Wrestling show. No, you got to earn it. You have to earn it. You have to have the right attitude. You have to want it and do everything possible in the right way to get it.
All right. Well, enough of the Freelance Academy there. But
Yeah,
it is
sorry.
true. Again, no. It's all good stuff because it also allows, like you said, like sometimes you just don't need all that story. You just need to give people a chance. Like,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but so that was Freelance Cheap Pop from August 5th. Your next show for Freelance is this upcoming Thursday, September 1st. And
Yes.
it is Plexum, Colcabana, or We're Gonna Plexum, right? That's a
Yeah.
full name.
Like we're gonna wreck them. We're gonna plex them. So it's a spin on, with the Emporium shows, we've been trying to do them game related or some kind of game relation. So
Uh-huh.
this one is Wreck-It Ralph.
And Colcabana is making a comeback to Freelance after quite some time.
Since
Um,
May.
and what I am, just very quickly, what the one match that caught my attention was Colcabana versus Alfonso
Yes.
Gonzalez. I think that is going to be a fun match. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
No. I agree. I think it's going to be a fun match. Given the style of wrestling that Cole Cabana does and the over the top character that Alfonso Gonzalez
Yeah,
is, where he's not serious. And I mean that in a good way, that he's not serious. He believes his own hype. He's his own best hype man. He's the team
he's the
Alfonso
only
Dojo.
the only team
He's the only
member.
member. Um, he obviously he can go in the ring, but he still makes some pretty bad choices. Blames everybody else for everything that happens to him. So yeah, it's a fun match. It was definitely, when presented to us, uh, presented to the team as an idea. All of us were on board because of what we think the match can be.
Hmm.
Uh, it, Essentially, whoever wins, whoever loses, everybody still wins. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It will be a fun match.
All right, and tickets at the door, or
All depends. Tickets at the door if they don't sell out. As of yesterday, they were 75% gone.
okay,
So I'm not sure what that number is right now. But coming out of the weekend, they were 70%, 75% gone. Uh, it's limited capacity, not because the building can't hold more, but if they go over a certain number, you're not going to be able to see the ring. So
gotcha.
if you haven't purchased online, I highly suggest to purchase those online, because there's no guarantees that they'll be there at the door the day of the show.
And that is they can find tickets at
geez.
freelancewrestling.com?
No.
No.
For the Emporium show, it's cashdrop.biz/Emporium Chicago. Cashdrop.biz, B-I-Z, /Emporium Chicago. All one word, lowercase, no spaces.
Look at that. Let me yeah, here we go. Found the link. I'm gonna see if I can get it up here on the screen momentarily. But while we do that, and we're almost hitting the 1 hour mark. So let's talk real quick about Freelance Underground, this thing of ours that took place the following weekend, Saturday, August 13th. And that took place at the distillery in Thornton, Illinois.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if I've talked.
Thornton
I know I
Distilling
talked
Co.
to.
in Thornton, Illinois.
Yep, I talked to Two Juice for sure. I don't know if I've talked to you, but I mean, I've been out there once. I haven't been able to make every show out there, but I really, really love the venue. It's so cool. Um, Definitely. I mean, I know it's somewhat far out from the usual freelance crowd, but this is how Freelance Underground runs, right? They
Yes.
they pop up different areas. Next place, you guys will be showing up to will be Joliet. But if you're able to make it to the Thornton
Yes.
distillery, it's an awesome venue. I recommend it 100%.
And the drinks are good. And the food's good there too.
I didn't have food,
And
but
most
it looked
importantly,
good.
yes, definitely worth trying. Also, the drinks are good. The food's good. The atmosphere, the building, it's a cool looking venue. But air conditioning during the summer, heat during the winter, and
There we
those
go.
two things are massively important. So, for anyone that's been to our events in the past, one of our venues did not have AC and barely had heat. So, this venue as well as Joliet both have AC, heat, and plenty of space,
If
as
we're
well as
talking Joliet,
drink
drinks are
specials.
affordable. But if we're talking
Drink,
Thornton
they're affordable.
Distillery, drinks are really, really
Bit
good.
pricier, bit
They're
pricier,
pricey, but
but
you're getting,
everything's made in house. Everything's made in
exactly.
house.
You're getting that good whiskey. Um,
Hmm.
so real quick, running through the card, and we'll make a few stops along the way. We had
Sure.
Axel Rico versus Ethan Price. Um, Axel Rico picks up the victory here.
Ethan Price.
Ethan Price. Okay.
Yes.
Um, is I mean, I've seen Axel Rico before, but is that his first time with Underground?
Yes, that is his first time on Underground. Sometime last year, we put out a tweet to him because he was trying to get on the shows, and we said, "Hey, look, get 100 retweets or 100 likes or some crazy number that based on his social media that he had to work for, and
Mm-hmm.
he achieved it thanks to a friend of his that works for AEW helping him out. But
Hey,
nonetheless, he did it. So, I was like, hey, look, are you available this day? He wasn't available. I was like, okay, well, we'll figure something out in the future. Asked him again, you available? Nope. Okay. And then finally, I was like, look, man, are you available on this day? And he said, yes. I was like, finally, okay, let's do this. And, he earned the opportunity in a way. And, we put him on the show. And I had no complaints about him.
yeah, no, I think it was a good match. And again, new faces all the time. That's the cool thing when with Underground. Like there's a few people here and there, where we get to see new talent. And again, is that approach of like, let's give them a shot, see what they're about. Um, so then we had Unsigned and Don't Care. Is that right?
Unsigned and don't care.
Gary
Gary
J
J and Aaron Williams.
versus Heroes of Our Time, Mason Conrad and Joey Marks.
Yes.
Now,
Underground Originals. And when
right,
I
I was
say
gonna say we
Underground
were talking about
Originals,
the originals. These are two originals, right?
2008. 2008 Underground Originals.
And Mason Conrad, he got knocked out.
That's what I saw too. The referee called the match because he could not continue.
Yep, he was lights out. um, Alfonso Gonzalez versus Gunnar Brave. I do want to point out Trevor Outlaw is in commentary here with Jimmy
Yes,
D.
he is. Yes, he is.
Um,
Once again, asked for an opportunity, and him and James Russo are butted heads quite a bit, but now they have a common issue with Matt Nix. So James Russo was like, you know what? Yeah, you want an opportunity on commentary to piss people off? Be my guest.
I mean, he knows how to do that very well.
Yeah, he really does. Chip off the old block.
Pick and pop. Coda Hernandez and Darius Luttrell against Brothers of Construction, Yabo and Rufo, with Frank the Clown, right? So a trio of clowns. What were you gonna say there?
No, nothing. Sorry,
Uh,
I had an itch.
oh, um,
Beards get dry and you get itchy.
yep. Gotta keep them oily and hydrated.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
And
um,
colored one color, not 3 or 4.
it shows some character. It's all for the
Thank you for
character.
thanks for saying it shows character, not age.
um, so again here, Brothers of Construction, coming in as the champs, but Pick and Pop, deservedly so, I think, in my opinion, uh, come out as the champs in this one. Um, I mean, can you look at Brothers of Construction tag team match in Freelance Underground and say that you were not entertained? I don't think so. Um,
I
and then Pick
agree.
and Pop, they just been putting in the work. I mean,
The dynamic of Coda Hernandez and Darius Luttrell. Um,
yep.
Two opposite ends of the spectrum, but if you saw the video they made, you find out why they're a team. I mean, Darius Luttrell is the international basketball superstar that
Trying to keep
got
them out of
tired of
trouble. Mhm.
just as far as character wise, got tired of basketball and wanted to try wrestling. Coda Hernandez is the troublemaker, the thief, and now it's a matter of okay, they both got character arrested, became friends, and Darius Luttrell tries to keep Coda Hernandez out of trouble.
Yep.
So and without spoiling anything, there'll be another layer added to all that soon that you'll see. It'll be a crossover thing.
Okay.
So it's just and yeah, they deserved a title match for sure. They had that feud with Marche Rocket and Acid Jazz. They beat Marche Rocket and Acid Jazz in the the prison yard rules match. And from that point, what aside from having more tag matches and picking more wins, what more can you do? They deserve the title match. They got one in Joliet. It was a triple threat match. The Clowns cheated. They tied up Darius Luttrell and took advantage of, I believe, Joey Marks and Mason Conrad. Coda and Darius did not lose that match. So here you go. Okay, you want to be funny. Here's your title opportunity against them one-on-one. And they made the most of it, won the titles. Definitely deserve it. Now let's see what they can do. We happened with the
Now
Bang
it's on, yeah,
Bros.
balls on their court now.
Bang, yeah, the Bang Bros. They won the tag titles off of the Brothers of Construction, their first tag title win,
Right.
and now look. So let's see if lightning strikes twice with Pick and Pop.
All right. We have Joe Alonso on the card against JJ Garrett. Had these two gone up against each other before?
First time, and it's a match that both of them have been wanting to have for a long time, but due to circumstances that were totally in Joe Alonso's control, it never materialized. Now though, I'm happy to be one of the few that are giving Joe Alonzo the opportunity to show that he's not necessarily the person that he made himself out to be. And we get a lot of flack for it, absolutely, because Joe did a very good job of making people believe that he was just this rotten piece of crap, and a majority of the world thinks that he doesn't deserve any opportunity and he shouldn't be in the wrestling world at all. So I don't go out on the internet and till I'm blue in the face and defend the kid, but what I can do is go, look, I believe in you. Here's an opportunity. Don't screw it up. And so this is the second time that Joe's been back. He's been a model citizen in the locker room. Hasn't caused any problems to my knowledge. That, and believe me, I'm sure if he had a problem, 30 people would have been telling me about it already. He hasn't pissed anybody off. He hasn't said anything wrong. He's come in. He's done his job. He's been more than accommodating to us as far as his attitude and the stigma or stench that he had on him. He's really, really, really trying to prove that that's not who he really was, and that this is what he wants to do.
And here's where I'll also I'll say, if for those who have not heard, um, Joe Alonso and James, not together, separate episodes, but at the Robert Eagle's podcast, uh, Potting with Ego, both episodes I thoroughly enjoyed.
Well, thank you.
Definitely, I think I was on a drive to Milwaukee, listening to the episode with you, and kind of giving that history of underground, freelance underground, um, all the crazy stuff that just happens within the professional wrestling world and the indie level, and all the stuff that people deal with. But gives you a pretty good insight. And we had Rob on as well a couple weeks ago, and again, him and Joe Alonso obviously have a friendship there, and there's an episode dedicated to that, and Joe Alonso sharing his story. So again, I think you're right on. Like, some people might not like it, but all you can do as a promoter is like giving him an opportunity, and it's on him if he takes it and how he takes it. And clearly we've seen him twice on the card back to back with Freelance Underground. So
Right.
good for
And
him.
now on October 22nd in Joliet, he's got a title shot. It's him and Calvin Tankman.
Oh my,
I mean,
okay.
there's no. Joe's very talented, very talented. The only thing that ever got Joe in trouble was his mouth and his social media presence,
Hmm.
which was bad from what he said. Sorry about that. Which was bad based on what his detractors all said. But at the same time, his numbers were phenomenal. What he was doing was working, but it was working more in a negative light than a positive light to the
Right.
character of Joe Alonzo. And the problem is Joe Alonzo is Joe Alonzo. He's not, Joe the Terrible or some other kind of, gimmick name. So you're always going to associate Joe Alonzo as the person, regardless if he's playing a character or not, because you're going, no, that's not the character. That's actually him. So here's his opportunity to show he's not that. I'm more than happy to give him that opportunity. He's talented as hell. He could put it on a hell of a match, and he's got the platform now. So as long as he continues doing what he's doing, it's a win-win situation for the company and for him. But him and Garrett
And like you
had a
said,
really good match.
no, like you said, I mean, he's up for a title shot, right, coming up. So we'll see what he does then. Um, we'll keep an eye on that. And then time for the main event, right? We have Project Monix, accompanied by James Russo, to take on Chico Suave. Hashtag Viva la Chico.
Really? Still going with the Viva La Chico stuff, huh?
It's still going strong. Um, It
You
was
forgot the 6-man tag, by the way.
oh, let me look at my notes. 6-man tag,
Storm.
Mark Wheeler. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Storm. Yes.
Mark Wheeler, Jesse V, and Evan Greenaway. There's that guy again versus Storm
Yep.
Grace and the Bang Bros, and that was probably, I'd say, the match of the night.
Okay. The only thing about Greenway that I was gonna mention is like his outfit looks similar to Monix's outfit.
Well,
But he came in, and saved the day, so can't
600
complain.
and
Well,
something 600 and something miles separated. So
right.
you can't go, oh, you knew better.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't know. And he looks like a Power Ranger. Mine's not.
There we go. So what made this the match of the night for you?
Just from start to finish. It was extremely solid. It wasn't clunky. Um, just everybody was hitting on all cylinders. Um, Definitely crowd involvement with such a limited crowd. Impact Wrestling was the same night.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we had booked the date prior to knowing that Impact was going to be around. Uh, on top of nice weather, I believe it was supposed to rain, and then rain went further south from Chicago, and as far as south as we went even more south into like Indiana. So it you figure that's the last big weekend of the summer too. So that match really made it sound like there was a hell of a lot more people than there actually was.
Do you think that that match took a little bit out of the crowd going into the main event?
Absolutely. Uh, Definitely. But my opinion is always, if you deliver, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Uh, if there's a special, there's like a special slot for every match where it's not too little, not too much. It's just the right amount of stuff. And that's what that 6-man tag delivered. Just the right amount. Just the right amount. Whereas the main event maybe felt they needed to do too much versus just enough.
Mm.
If that's what you were referring to.
I just felt like yeah, maybe that maybe you put it in a better way that I would. Because I did notice, right, like the crowd seemed maybe a little bit more tired, even though this was the culmination. Like you expect them to be a little bit more hyped up. Um,
Mhm.
but you do make a good point. Like at that point, like that match probably like wore out the crowd a little bit too much, which it was the right enough, but also cut the main event been a little shorter, not as long, not done too much stuff. I think you make a good point there. Um, but again, like this is where I kind of put over Chico's facial expressions. Like that makes the match 10 times better. Sure he comes out strong. You know, Monix takes a beating, but definitely everything comes back and gets Chico and um, the way he sells and just all the components that go into that match, such as the the disco references with the disco doll. Um, maybe now that we're talking about it, maybe that table with the mouse traps necessarily wasn't such a great idea, but it was pretty risky there with all those things happening. But again, I think it was good, and it leaves people like wondering, right? What happens? How did where does Chico go from here? He takes a beating, he wins, but Monix is Monix, and that vicious sides that you were talking about comes out, right? And there's so
And
many other things that happen in between, beginning and end there, but
yeah. I mean, being banned from ringside
Yeah, two Jews with the right
there was
call.
no thanks. I mean, from a story perspective, I didn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this story, yeah, in the end I was a proponent for being the one to be like, get rid of this child that keeps messing up everything for you. Like he's going to be nothing but a hindrance. But at the same time, you're going into no holds barred. Yeah, being there maybe would add another layer,
Mm-hmm.
but they already were doing so much that there really was no need for anybody on the outside. I mean, it was chaos, and then you just add another person to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, screw Two Juice for banning me, but from a story perspective, from a Camione perspective, yeah, being there would have taken more away, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, there was a lot going on. No real need for you to be there, but also knowing that at any point you could show up and do some stuff. Knowing that the what is it, the everything pretty much was against Chico here. He didn't really have a chance. So for him to come out as the winner here, I think shocked everyone. But what
Can't make things
happens?
predictable all the time.
Right.
Because when you make things predictable all the time, people get tired of watching. I mean, how many times have we complained about what we watch on TV and how,
Yep.
oh God, oh man, it's the 400th time these two people have wrestled over the last 2.5 weeks. Geez, could we get something new? Oh, it's the same 7 people week in and week out. So even in this situation with Chico, Pat wins. Pat wins. Just
Mm-hmm.
continues his dominance in Freelance Underground. What happens to Chico? He's exactly what we said he was.
And
But
that's it. Yeah.
if Chico wins, you make Chico. It doesn't hurt us at all whatsoever. As the heels in the position that we are, it doesn't hurt us for Chico to win. Mox is going to kick Chico's ass if he loses. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not going to just be like, oh well, I lost and leave. No, he's going to get the last word, and he did. He beat the shit out of Chico right afterwards. But Chico still looks like a somebody now, and here on a personal note, yeah, 10 years. I've known Chico for 10 years, and Chico has been just treated like absolute crap for 10 years, much to his own fault and his own stupidity. But for the last 3 of those 10, Chico has put in the work, proven that he could actually wrestle on top of the comedy that he does,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the character that he is. Chico could actually wrestle. Chico deserves to be recognized. And if there was ever a time to do it, even on a smaller scale, it was at that point. And of course,
I
the
agree.
unpredictability and the unpredictability.
Yeah, and it gives you more material to work with too. At the end of the day.
Correct. It builds another baby face.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
yeah,
also like you talked about last 3 years, last couple of months, like he has gotten in really good shape.
he put in the
Um,
work.
yep, that wearing that homage to disco gear, right? Looks really good on him. So good for him, and good for him on taking this win. And excited to see what's next for him within the Freelance Underground spectrum. I don't know what that means for freelance wrestling. Maybe one of the scrambles. I don't know. Just saying. Um,
Maybe
But again, like this, hats off to the freelance brand here and having 2 weekends back to back with some swerves that we were not expecting, which makes this all the more fun.
Yes, sir.
And you did mention a date for Freelance Underground going back to Joliet. That
October
is
22nd.
the 22nd, October 22nd. And for freelance, we have this upcoming Thursday, which is September 1st. And do we have another date on the horizon
September
for them?
23rd at Logan Square Auditorium.
And the 23rd.
Details for that coming to you live Friday. Or maybe some announcements Thursday night if you are in attendance at Emporium, or if you are tuning in live on iwtv.live.
Awesome. So both of these shows will be streamed via IWTV, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, James. Well, that concludes our somewhat of a snack size episode. We did have to go through 2 shows, and we talked about other stuff, but it was all in good conversation. Um,
Sorry.
this is where I put you on the spot. And do you have the social media handles for everything?
Okay, freelance wrestling. You could find out information from freelancewrestling.com. Freelance Res at Freelance Res on Twitter. Freelance Wrestling on Instagram, and Freelance Wrestling on Facebook. For Freelance Underground, you have at Freelance UND RGD, I believe.
Yep.
On Twitter. You have Freelance Underground and Freelance Underground on the Insta and the Facebook. Tickets you could get at fu-tickets.com. And I think I actually just said absolutely everything. And
There
I didn't
you go.
mess up.
You got it down.
I tried.
So such the good promoter you are.
Don't go that far.
All right. Well, as far as Two Heels and a Face goes, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Two Heels and a Face. Number 2, Heels and the Face. And you can check out our website at twoheelsandaface.com. That is it for today. Make sure you hashtag Viva La Chico forever and always. James, thank you for your time. Thank you for walking us through these 2 shows and the upcoming stuff that could potentially happen. Hopefully see you soon.
Yes, sir. Hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.